deadline for emergency claims has now come and gone, and the next phase of the oil spill compensation is beginning.
The claims administrator, Ken Feinberg, had a media conference call this morning on this new phase, and he explained the choices the victims will have from here on out.
Fox News reporter Matt Barentine was on that call, joining us now in the studio. Matt?
Well, if you're a claimant, you will now have two choices. Take a final payment and give up your right to sue, or take quarterly payments and continue to deal with the process. Today, Feinberg explained both those choices, and I got him to answer some questions specifically about Alabama. Over the last 3 months, the Gulf Coast Claims Facility received nearly 450,000 emergency claims. Around half of those have been paid. The rest are under review or have been rejected for lack of documentation. In a conference call this morning, Claims Administrator Ken Feinberg says this job was much bigger than he suspected.
That's about 4 times what I thought there'd be.
Feinberg says the claims process will now enter its next phase, giving victims 2 options, with one waiving the right to sue.
Now and forevermore, here is your check. And in return for that check, you will release not only BP, but all the other co-defendants. And you, claimant, will not litigate. You will do nothing further. Here's your check. That's option 1.
The second option is to keep filing paperwork for quarterly payments. This way, a victim won't give up the right to sue, but they're taking other chances.
If you take a quarterly payment, and down the road you come back and say, okay, now I'm ready for a final payment, there's no guarantee if the fishing is okay and the economy's returned to normal, there's no guarantee that that final payment will be as generous as it would have been if you had started out.
Before some can move on to the new phase, though, they want answers to the inconsistencies of the emergency payments. I was able to ask Feinberg directly about these issues.
The big problem a lot of folks have is they do not see the transparency with how you guys are figuring up the claims.
I've received some constructive criticism over the past week, shall we say, from the elected officials and the press in Alabama. I promised Senator Sessions and Senator Shelby that I'll be returning after the holiday, Thanksgiving, in the next week or two to Alabama to meet with some of those high businesses and accountants.
After a couple more questions about the problems victims in Alabama have had, Feinberg defended the job the claims facility is doing.
This Gulf Coast Claims Facility has paid Alabama citizens and businesses over $350 million to some 20,000 individuals and businesses. I mean, it's not as if I've ignored Alabama.
And if you have issues with what you receive from the emergency payments or with what you will receive in the future from a lump sum or quarterly payments, Feinberg did announce another option, which circumvents him entirely. I'll explain that appeals process coming up on Fox 10 News at 5:30 p.m. Also, if you'd like to hear today's entire teleconference, about 30 minutes long, with Ken Feinberg, go to our website, fox10tv.com.